Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 89 of Buds and Blue Jays. This is your place for all things related to the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Jesse Burrell, and I'm here, as always, with the world-famous Riley McConnell. You know who he is by now. And today on our show, we've got a lot to recap, which was a very fun series against the Kansas City Royals. We've got some thumbs up in this episode, giving some players that we liked on their performance. And then we have some negatives, and we'll talk about those as well and how they performed this series. We've got some news and notes as well. And the Blue Jays actually signed a new player to the 40-man roster this week. So we're going to touch on that well. Riley, so much to get to in this episode. But first, how are you today, man? What's up?
Jesse, I'm doing awesome. Didn't feel so good against the Cards. We're obviously still on the road in the Central. And hey, good series against the Royals. Can't really complain about a 3 out of 4. I think I called that one last episode.
Sure did.
That's all fine. That's all fine and dandy, man. Lots of balls still to go. Other than that, it's, weather's warming up. Our bats are getting warmed up, Jesse. All is good right now in the world of Blue Jays and in the world of Riley, of course. Everything is good.
Love to hear it, guys. Remember, our show is free and we're available on all platforms. So if you can't get enough of the Jesse and Riley combo here, you can subscribe to us so you can stay with us all summer on YouTube. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're looking for 1,000 subscribers by season end. We're well on our way. And it's a very strict honor you could say that you can be one of the first 1,000 subscribers of Buds and Blue Jays. And you can follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you can get your podcast. So please do so as well. And if you're a social media type of person, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, as we're building quite the community on the online over there. So please make sure you follow along with that. But pleasantries out of the way, Riley. Let's get into the game recaps. Let's tell you what happened in this 4-game series against the Kansas City Royals. Game 1, the Jays actually lost this one 9-5 against the Kansas City Royals. Jose Brios started and proved he was the same guy he was last year. Gave up 3 earned runs in the first inning. Then he settled down for 2 more and then gave up 4 more in the fourth. The Jays were able to score 4 runs in the last 3 innings, but were never really into this ball game. Bobashet, MATT CHAPMAN, and Biggio all with multi-hit games, and Bobashet hit the Blue Jays' first home run of the season. Game 2 took place the following day. The Jays won this game 4-1. And Riley, this was the Dalton Varsho game. 2 hits, including his first home run as a Blue Jay. Made some real nice defensive plays, including throwing out a runner at the plate, and was good on the base path as well. Yusei Kikuchi looked solid in his season debut. 5 innings pitched, only 1 earned runs allowed. MATT CHAPMAN, that name again, he had 3 hits. And the Jays bullpen went 4 innings pitched, only allowing 1 hit, striking out 5. And Jordan Romano earned save number 2. Game 3, Jays win this game 3-0. The Jays get their first shutout of the season. Alek Manoah bounced back after his opening day start, going 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Dalton Varsho and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. both had 3 hits, with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. going oppo taco for his first home run of the season. Eric Swanson worked a clean 8th inning, and Jordan Romano, pitching on back-to-back nights, converts save number 3. And the game that just took place this afternoon, the Jays won this game 6-3. The Jays got off to a hot start thanks to back-to-back doubles by Dalton Varsho and MATT CHAPMAN in the first. Jays added to their lead with home runs from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Kevin Biggio. The Royals did score 3 against Trevor Richards in the 8th, but that was all. And Kevin Gausman had a good start here today. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. So after the series against Kansas City and our little modest 3-game winning streak we have, the Jays are now 4-3. We sit 3rd place in the AL East, and we're 2.5 games back behind the undefeated Tampa Bay Rays, Riley. So a lot of storylines to come out of this series against the Kansas City Royals. I'm letting you take it away, Riley. Who are we talking about first?
So as much as I would love to say, the bounce back start by Manoah was my favorite part of this, I'm going to be a little homer here and say my favorite part of this series, the best player for me in this series was MATT CHAPMAN. I mean, This guy's absolutely tearing it up at the dish, man. You texted me the other day, said leads the league in doubles. Couldn't believe it. And after today, still leads the league in doubles because he added to the list there another double hit and another one. I think Bradley Jr. made a great play out in center field. Could have had another extra base hit too. And he's hitting them to all fields. His swing and miss rate is way down. And you know what? I'm a counting stats guy. He's driving in runs, and he drove in a lot of runs in this series. And I mean, hey, our pitch held its own in the Gausman start, in the Manoah start, and obviously in the Yusei Kikuchi start. He did well too. You'll hear all about that from Jesse, I'm sure.
Yes,
but
you will.
For my guy MATT CHAPMAN, I mean, just a premier run producer right now early on. I know we're only 7 games into this young season, but how he did last year, even early on, a lot of swing and miss, and rarely found himself relevant and on base in these big ball games. And that's my pick for my first thumbs up. Got to be MATT CHAPMAN. I mean, I'm hoping for way more of this as the season goes on.
Riley, it was great to see. What did we talk about when we had our top storylines to follow this season? I'm pretty sure we talked about, hey, Matt Chapman going into a contract year. Like, if he can come back to those late 2010s Oakland A's years for Matt Chapman, he could be a monster, Riley. And he looks every bit of it. Like, he looks like an MVP candidate just 1 week into the season. He had 13 hard hit balls. He was 7th in baseball in all of that in exit velocity. He has 6 doubles, like you said, leads the game. And Riley, not only that, he had 2 absolute rockets that just died on the warning track, including one that went 407 feet. And Riley, the thing that's impressed me the most about Matt Chapman so far this young season is that he's using the whole field. He is going to that right center field gap. He had 5 opposite field hits coming into the game today, which he did that in his first 6 games of the year. Last year, Riley, he didn't have his 5th opposite field hit to game number 27. And Riley, if you had to take a guess at what Matt Chapman's OPS is right now, what do you think it is?
I mean, I honestly, with all the doubles, he's got to be sitting at, with his average up way high, I bet you he's sitting at a 1250 OPS right now.
1250, Riley. We're going to go over.
No. What do we got?
1369 is what Matt Chapman's OPS
I like
right
that
now.
number.
And that is absolutely insane. Plus, not only that, Riley, aside from his error he made opening day, the defense still looks really good. Matt Chapman's hitting up in the top of the order. He's hit clean up in a game this series. It's just, I don't think I can raise my thumbs any higher for what Matt Chapman has done on this opening series so far.
I mean, yeah, I can't butter this guy up enough. He's a hell of a ball player. Yeah, the defense is obviously the primary thing in his game. I wasn't expecting this from Mr. Matt Chapman. Obviously, the power is real. The power is there. I hate that those balls died on the track because they could have been, in another ballpark. Maybe the 407 one gets out of here. In a lot of ballparks, it does. But hey, you know what? It's a heck of a series by Matt Chapman, and we just hope for more to come in. Hitting in the middle of the lineup too. That's really good. Really nice to see.
Good stuff. I want to see more from that from Matt Chapman going forward. Riley, another player that I am officially giving a thumbs up to this series is one of Dalton Varsho, Riley, and he is 7 for 14 this series. He hit his first home run as a Toronto Blue Jay. And Riley, I don't know if you saw it. It was an opposite field home run, and it was the very first opposite field home run Dalton Varsho has hit in his career. So if you think about what he's done so far this season, opening day, he ropes a baseball 112.5 miles per hour, the hardest hit baseball he has ever had in his career. 4 games later, he comes into Kansas City here. He hits his very first opposite field home run of his career. These are all good things that Dalton Varsho is improving with the bat, things we never really saw. And not only that, Riley, his defense is amazing. Like, I am still in awe whenever I see Dalton Varsho out in the field. And actually, his teammates are kind of taking note too. Here's a quote that Alek Manoah said about the defense in the outfield this year. And Manoah said, quote, "They're amazing. Their first step is really a difference maker. It kind of feels like they're moving to where the ball is hit before it even hits the batter's bat." So that is amazing, and how good that Dalton Varsho has been in the outfield. And not only that, his base running's there too. He's stealing bases. Like, Dalton Varsho is very easily getting rid of my early season concerns I might have had about him. And I think he should be supplemented in that top of the order every single day.
So you want to talk about a guy, you talk about ball players, you talk about the 5 tools in baseball. Right now, Dalton Varsho is looking like a 5-tool player. And yes, that involves the contact tool right now, it seems. I don't know if this is going to carry on the amount of hits or the opposite field home runs, but certainly the defense and base running has been elite. Also that he's got a wicked arm too. I mean, you could argue right now with where Kiermaier is at in his career and age and everything else, and just kind of what I've seen, which is still early on, that Varsho is actually a better defender, more valuable than Kiermaier in the field right now, which is saying a lot. But right now, Varsho with his bat I would be stupid to think I'm the only one that's impressed. You look at Blue Jays Twitter right now, and a lot of people are riding the Varsho train right now, and they should. And I called it before the start of this year. You want to go out and buy a jersey? Go get a Dalton Varsho jersey. This guy is young. I mean, he played, really a COVID shortened year and a one really good full year in his career. And this is like where we're kind of at with Dalton Varsho. I mean, he's got a long way to go for his MLB career. He is just getting started. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm just going on a limb here, but I'm going to say this might be a career year for him. Knock on wood. Really hope it happens. He's certainly on the pace to make that happen.
And he's under team control, Riley. Don't forget, for 4 more seasons. So we're going to be seeing a lot more Dalton Varsho in the years to come. Riley, so many good storylines. The Blue Jays did a lot of good things this series. Do you want to switch? Like, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to our pitching staff, or do you want to go to our big bats in the middle of the lineup? Where should we go next?
I mean, kind of wanting to go pitchers here. But besides what happened in one of the games, I thought we got really good pitching. I thought Yusei Kikuchi did a fantastic job on the bump. Alek Manoah, tremendous job coming back from his probably one of his worst starts, if not the worst start of his career. And Kevin Gausman doing Kevin Gausman things again. His pitch mix is nasty. That splitter, I don't know even where it ranks among MLB's top whatever pitches, but that drop is incredible. Yes, Kansas City might not have the the best, most full lineup making major league players swing and miss at. Really balls out of the zone because there's so much downward movement on that splitter. I mean, those three guys, all of them could very well get thumbs up. Thumbs up, Jesse. Really, your guy Yusei Kikuchi though, I thought looked really good. Thoroughly impressed me, Jesse, especially after the Brios game. But Yusei Kikuchi held his own, man.
Yeah, I got to start about Yusei Kikuchi here, Riley. I was so amped up for this start. Here's his official line. He went 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, only 2 strikeouts, Riley, but the whip below 1 in this one start for Yusei Kikuchi, which I loved. And then some of the metrics behind it, Riley, his 4-seam velocity fastball up 1.3 miles per hour. He touched 97.6 miles per hour with his fastball. And his slider, Riley, his velocity was up as well. He had 9 swinging strikes on only 69 pitches, which is actually a pretty decent rate. Now, there were still some bad signs in here. He did give up a massive home run to Framil Reyes, and it did look, he didn't quite look exactly like the same guy he was this spring. There were some small glimpses of some uncompetitive pitches and some hard contact against him. But honestly, the big thing I really liked here with Yusei Kikuchi, he started throwing his changeup significantly more. He threw it 25% of the time in this start, up from the 13% that he threw last year. And it is his best pitch by the numbers. And Riley, another stat that I loved about Yusei Kikuchi, 55% of his pitches were in the strike zone. And if that number stays, that'll be by far the best in his career. So thumbs up, Mr. Yusei Kikuchi. I'm wearing your jersey with pride when I go to the Rogers Center next week, and I'm glad to see it.
And that's what got me too, Jesse, was the amount of pitches that were actually in the zone. I mean, yes, the strikeouts, whatever, you could see more strikes out of Yusei Kikuchi on a normal, start from there. But the amount of pitches that were actually in the zone, that's enough to kind of get me hyped a little bit more as things move on. But yeah, also, you could give it to Gausman too and Manoah. They also had very quality starts. And, like we said at the start, we took 3 out of 4 games. Those were good games, Jesse. And I'll kind of segue this into the thumbs down portion, if that's okay with you, because yes, we've had three very good guys to start. And then there was Jose Brios starting game 1. All eyes were on him. I was glued to this one because we saw him in the World Baseball Classic, got hit around. I thought, all right, total redemption year for Jose Brios. And he goes out there and has a terrible first inning and then goes in. Somehow manages to pitch 3 2/3 more innings or whatever it was, and then get hit around in the final inning he was pitching in. And I just thought, hey, there was some good takeaway, Jesse, but he was just leaving too many pitches in the heart of the plate. And we're lucky it was just Kansas City, because they could have put an 8 spot on him if he didn't get yanked before. So big thumbs down for me, because that's not what you want to see. That's not what we signed up for in the Jose Brios fan club. And after last year, I felt like he really needed it, and it just didn't happen for him in game 1.
Riley, can you take a guess at what Jose Brios' career ERA is with the Toronto Blue Jays since he got here?
Oh man, I'm gonna say it's got to be. I'm gonna say 4.99. I'm gonna say 4.99.
Just under 5A. It's actually 4.94. So you're very close. After that, but that's not good. That's not the guy we wanted. And Riley, you nailed the hammer on the head here. It was just more of the exact same stuff that he was battling with all last year. It's almost to the point, what did Jose Brios even do this offseason? 6 of his 9 hits were allowed on the 4-seamer and a sinker, and the bad location of his 4-seamer was especially terrible. His slurve, I will give you some positives though from Jose Brios, because his start was bad. It was terrible. If you don't have fastball command, then you don't have anything, right? But he did still get a lot of swings and misses on that slurve ball. He did have a couple 1, 2, 3 innings mixed in there. He did get 7 strikeouts still on his 11 whiffs. But until we see improvement from the fastball command and even that sinker, he's got to run that sinker inside to lefties, have it start at them and then dive over the plate like Roy Halladay did for years. Until Jose Brios can do that consistently, then we're in trouble. And I don't think we're ever going to get a good Jose Brios thing. Riley, I guess my next question is, How long do you let him go? How many more starts like this does it take before Jays make drastic changes?
Oh man, like it's the leash is short. I mean, last year you like under the radar. You weren't going into the season opener last year thinking that anything was going to be different than a steady 3 ERA. Is what his first kind of stint with the Blue Jays since the deadline. I think it was an even 3 earned run average. And you look at that in a handful of starts, you think that's pretty good. And then you look at how last year went for him, and you really kind of have to take note for him. And I mean, I think 2 more starts like this, Jesse. I give him 2 more. I mean, I'd almost want to say 1, but I think it's the number 2. And you want to spread out some good quality starts. I mean, if knock on wood, this doesn't happen, Jesse, but if he goes out there and totally bombs his next outing, I mean, we don't push the panic button. We certainly don't push the panic button, but we start to put our thinking caps on as to what the heck we're supposed to do with this guy, because we just can't win ball games when we're surrendering 6 earned runs, before the 7th inning. Any time you give up 6 runs, I mean, you're more than likely going to win the game unless it's kind of a slugfest style game. But I mean, he's really got some issues on the hill right now. Yeah. Like I think there was 10 pitches in the middle of the 2nd or 3rd inning where he looked really good on. And like, I could sit here and talk about that, but that's nothing compared to his slash line when you look at what he's given up in the rest of that outing. Because at the end of the day, he didn't have a quality start. He gave up 6 earned runs, and he was just getting too many hard hit balls the other way. So yeah, big time thumbs down for Brios, man. I mean, he was the only starter who didn't have it in the series.
Thumbs down for me too, Riley. I do think he's going to get more than 2 attempts here, but if it's just more of the same where he's just getting shellacked every time, I think the Blue Jays are going to look for a fake injury, if you will, just to get him off the field, just to get him to do something, maybe even to clear his head, because Brios has the talent. He should be better than this, and the Jays have to figure out how to do it because, yeah, they got to do something. But some more thumbs down, Riley. We don't spend too much time on these guys. The first one is Brandon Belt. And Riley, his line on the season, 1 for 19, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, Riley. Now, I know the guy didn't play much during spring training, and he still looks like he's in spring training mode. Remember, he is changing leagues. He hasn't seen a lot of these pitchers before, so it's tough. One interesting note I saw with Brandon Belt, too, is he takes 5.38 pitches per at-bats, which is one of the top 10, I believe, maybe top 15 in all of baseball. I know it's the most on the Blue Jays, of pitches seen per at-bats. So maybe Brandon Belt just hasn't seen that many pitches yet, so he's just trying to take a look at them. I don't know what's going on here, but Riley, when do we start to get worried about the performance of Brandon Belt?
I mean, I'm already a little bit worried, but I'm not as worried because we do have what looks like a very deep lineup as well. In the fact, I want to give some love also to Whit Merrifield and Biggio, who I thought had pretty good series as well. So there's a lot of aggregate in this lineup that can make up the spot that is Brandon Belt in the lineup right now. I mean, I'm still going to give him some plate appearances for sure in this upcoming series. In the next one, it's when things really fall off. But anytime you strike out, on 55% of your plate appearances at any point, you start to kind of, worry. And yeah, you could say, yeah, maybe he should be attacking earlier in counts. If that's going to help him, then yeah, make those adjustments. I mean, I don't think this trend is going to continue to this degree, but we very well could see a guy who's not an everyday player, who probably won't be. His time might be spaced out a little bit more as the season goes on. Who knows? There's the age factor. There's performance involved in that. So, I mean, he could be a situational guy down the road when we're having this conversation in July. But this could be a guy who hits under 200 for the year, Jesse, and you hope that that's just backed up by some extra base hits if we can get there. But the strikeouts, certainly, you're not doing anything by striking out, man, unless, yeah, it's just not happening.
No, you're right. Yeah. The thing I will say, this might be how Addison Barger or Spencer Horowitz or Otto Lopez crack this team if Brandon Belt struggles or if he's still hurt dealing with that injury. That might be how a guy like that gets at bats into this lineup. It could come from him. Riley, just real quick, we don't spend much time on this one. Another guy who is kind of on my thumbs down so far is George Springer, Riley. And ever since his opening day game where he had 5 hits, he's gone 1 for 19 since then. His average exit velocity, Riley, is 81.5, which is 9th on the Blue Jays right now, ahead of only Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk. And Riley, to me, it's the bat speed. It just doesn't look the same for me. And I wish we had a metric so we could actually measure this stuff. I know they're working on it. We don't have it yet, but it just looking at it, like he's getting the good follow throughs. I think that shoulder is healthy. It's just looked like the bat speed might be declining a little bit from George Springer. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Riley, concern level for George Springer.
I'm setting about a 5 right now, Jesse. I mean, this is a guy who's made a living as probably one of the most premier leadoff hitters in the game of baseball, 21st century, real innovator at the plate. Listen, anytime you get 5 hits in a game, that's a huge accomplishment, and whatever else the accolade attached to that's all fine and dandy. But then going 1 for 19, yeah, that's, a little bit of a slump. What I do like in this, Jesse, is that if this kind of persists, we kind of have the option to move guys like Varsho maybe close to the top of the order, Bobashet and things like that. I like the versatility. So I'm about a 5, sitting halfway. I would like Springer to click a little bit more, but hey, what can you do? I do like that guys are stepping up though, and I'm sure Springer will be coming along here real shortly and stringing together some good games.
Yeah, every guy is going to have their due. He's going to get on a streak where he gets hot. I do like the call, though. I don't think George Springer ends the season as our leadoff hitter, but that is a conversation for another day. We do not have to have that now. Riley, this is probably poor hosting on my part, but we're waiting 20 minutes into this show to finally talk about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And Riley, this might be the most important thing that has happened so far in the first week of the season. Riley, I'm going to lay out some stats from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. here, and I want you to tell me how you feel about these after I lay this out, okay?
That sounds perfect. Let's have them.
Okay, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has struck out 1 time so far this year, which means his K rate at 2.9% is the lowest in all of baseball with hitters with more than 20 at-bats. His chase rate, Riley, has dropped to 17% this year, where it was at 31% last year. Now, his launch angle still isn't there. It's about 4.8 degrees, which is right about where it was last year. But if he's not chasing and he's not swinging at pitches out of the zone, he is going to mash, Riley, 17 hard hit balls this season with an average exit velocity 11th in baseball. And actually, I think that number went up after the game today. He's using the opposite field more, which is only going to make him a true complete header. And Vladdy looks like he's set for a monster year. Even his actual stats compared to his expected stats so far this season, like Vladdy coming into the game today was hitting 278. His expected batting average over 400. His slugging was 333. His expected slugging 727, Riley. And his WOBA, which is 361, was expected to be 529 based on the quality of contact Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is having. I think we've seen signs here so far early this year that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is poised for a monster season and might even be better than he was in his MVP caliber season in 2021. What do you think about those, Riley?
I like that. That is something I can get behind right there. And you said it right there. Can we get another kind of repeat of the 2021 Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? And these I won't even say little signs because they are big, man. They are big. Yes. Through 7 games, 1 strikeout, the hard hit balls. I mean, listen, everything is in place right now for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to take a big step forward in his career, and he may never look back, Jesse. This is a very important, a very big year for Mr. Guerrero Jr. And I absolutely love this, my guy. I absolutely love this. They don't give you an 80 grade hit tool for nothing. Now we're coming and we're seeing it, and everything seems to be coming together. Might I add, he has played very good defense to start the year too. I know the big thing is the bat, but we got the complete game out of this guy. He's one of the most exciting players in the game to watch. And yeah, I have a feeling this is going to continue. We'll see maybe an 0 for 4 game here and there. Obviously that happens. It's baseball, but we're gonna see a great year, man. I'm super excited for Vladdy.
Baseballs beware. He is coming. and it'll be great. This might be the movie that we've talked about. Some other notes, some other players we've already kind of talked about it. Both Alek Manoah and Kevin Gausman did look good. The walks were a little high for Kevin Gausman. He did, or not Kevin Gausman, Alek Manoah. He did walk 4. And for both these guys, Riley, the velocity on their fastballs were down a little bit. Manoah's was down 2.5 miles per hour on his fastball, 1.6 on his slider. Kevin Gausman's was down. He threw a fastball as low as 87.8. But I think I'm just chalking this up, Riley, to it was very cold in Kansas City this weekend. They weren't a very good hitting team. Kevin Gausman has talked about, too, taking a little off on his fastball on purpose. And we've kind of seen Alek Manoah, too, even when he was really good last year. He would start out slow and get harder as the game goes on. I guess a concern level, scale of 1 to 10 for fastball velocity for Alek Manoah and Kevin Gausman.
Nothing on any of those two. The number that sticks out probably the most to me is the 5 strikeouts to 4 walks comparison on Alek Manoah. Mm-hmm. Just usually you don't see things like that. I'm sure, as the season goes on, that won't even be a hit on what we see in 3 or 4 more starts from here. I'm not in the least bit worried, man. I have all the confidence in the world in these two pitchers.
Yeah, lefties still hit Alek Manoah a little hard, so I do have a little bit more of a concern. So I'm not completely all the way back, but I still want to see more. I'm excited to watch Manoah in his next start out here. Riley, Bobashet on the game 1 of this series, he had a home run, the Blue Jays' first home run of the season. And Riley, what did we talk about a lot last year with Bobashet? We wanted to see him take the fastball, pull it, hit it for extra bases. Well, he did just that. 94-mile-per-hour fastball on a 2-0 count, down and in. He turned on it, hit it to the pole side, left center field. I love seeing this from Bobashet, and that was great to see, to really turn him into a true complete hitter.
I did not have him labeled as the guy that would hit our first home run of the year. I'm glad someone broke the ice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, dude, I mean, Bobashet, you want to talk about our team? Jesse, our team is so good at hitting the ball to all fields, up and down the lineup. We have a lot of guys who can hit to all fields and hit to all fields very well. Varsho coming along with that well. You got Chapman, who showed us, Vladdy, and of course Bobashet. And as much as I'd love to see him do those little slap hits, Bobashet is very good at pulling the ball and hitting the ball hard to his pull side. So I would also love to see that a ton. Like, we're going to see a lot of Bobashet hits this year. I have a feeling a lot of those are going to be hard hit on the pull side. I know last year it kind of got him a minute to get started, but I'm so good with what is going on right now at the dish for our Blue Jays hitters. And yeah, absolutely loved it. Bobashet, first home run for the Blue Jays season, came in the 4th game. Took a little bit long, but we got there.
Yep. And like Isaac said in our last episode, he was like, he wasn't worried about the lack of home runs because we know they were going to come. Well, Jays hit 4 this series, so that looks good. Riley, I have notes on 4 more players here. If any of these are interested of you, feel free to stop me and we can talk about it. But Kevin Biggio hit his first home run of the season, a 400-foot home run, 103.6 off the bat. He's actually drawing his walks too. Kevin Biggio's actually looked pretty good so far this year. Tim Meza had a 4-batter, 4-strikeout game on Tuesday with his sinker touching as high as 97 miles per hour. Then he comes in on the game today and he faces 3 batters, only gets 1 out. So a little bit of this and that from Tim Meza. Kevin Kiermaier doubled on a ground ball today up the middle, and I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Just the speed and base running and smart skills from Kevin Kiermaier. I'm very impressed. And then Trevor Richards came into a 6-run lead in the 8th inning today and did not get an out. He gave up 3 earned runs, I believe it was, and yeah, kind of struggles from Trevor Richards. So Riley, out of those 4 things, any takeaways?
I thought Biggio had a great series. I'll say that. I think that he'll be a very effective tool for us. I also want to say, just to kind of toot my own horn, I, Jesse, have had a double up the middle in front of the center fielder on one of those
Congratulations,
for our hometown team, the Wellington Lynx, of course. We're both in the Hall of Fame there, first ballot guys. But Jesse, yeah, I mean, the Meza thing, because going into this, Jesse, you had, Meza did great. I had, but he got smashed in the game. So It's like mixed reviews. And what did I say? I said the relief pitchers. They're going to be a mixed bag in places. I mean, yeah, he hung a pitch to a right-handed batter. He's a lefty. That's going to happen. Yep. Then he'll get a game where he faces 2 lefties and he'll get he'll strike them both out. So not a ton there of concern, man. I mean, our bullpen has done pretty good so far, and I'm quite happy about them as a whole unit.
Few minor news and notes to get away here. We might go a little long today. We're excited. A lot of good stuff happened in this Kansas City series. But the first one is Pete Walker was away with the team as his father had passed away. He's expected to come back and rejoin the team for the LA Angels series. So we're thinking of you, Pete, and your family there. And the Blue Jays have claimed an outfielder off of waivers from the Atlanta Braves. We signed a right-handed pitch hitter, Jordan Luplow, and sent him to AAA Buffalo. Hyunjin Ryu was sent to the 60-man IL as the corresponding move. Riley, I know you know a little bit about Jordan Luplow. My main takeaway, he's really good at hitting lefties, especially fastballs from lefties. And we had a hunch this is why the Blue Jays kept a spot open on their 40-man roster, because they wanted to add a player like this, get a little bit more depth on the outfield. And he could be a really good guy that's probably going to sit on the bench. But when you have a tough lefty on the mound or a tough lefty reliever and you need a good pinch hitting appearance late, Jordan Luplow could be that guy. So a thought on those?
Yeah, it's just pretty much what JBJ was kind of last year for our squad, and there he
better
was
bat,
playing.
Though. Better bat than JBJ.
Yeah, I know, but same kind of role in a way. You want to fill out your team with a veteran player. I'm fine with that. I don't know how much we'll see him, but if he can hit lefties well, that's fine. We'll see what happens, man.
Looking forward to that, Riley. The minor leagues are beginning all their seasons, and the Jays, some of the top prospects are set to their clubs. They've all announced their official rosters. Riley, I'm just going to read off some names of some top prospects at each site, and maybe if you wanted to give me a one name per team that you're either interested to see more of, or maybe that you're surprised they start in this location, and we can just really talk about this. Notable names to watch in Buffalo this year. You've heard all these names before. It's Nate Pearson, Yosver Zuleta, Addison Barger, Spencer Horwitz, Otto Lopez, and Hayden Junger. I would expect we'll see most, if not all of them in Toronto at some point this year. Keep an eye on that. The interesting ones, Riley, I guess, are the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, who Adrian Hernandez, Sem Roberts, who we saw a lot in spring, Zach Britton, Leo Jimenez, Orelvis Martinez, and Ricky Tiedemann will all be starting with the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. So a lot of good talent on that Fisher Cats team this year. And some interesting ones as you get lower down in the minors. Vancouver has some names like Adam Macko, Eric Pardino, Cade Doherty, Josh Kasevich, who were both in the draft last year for the Toronto Blue Jays. So pretty aggressive placement there. Desan Brown and Gabriel Martinez. And the guys who are probably most far away, who are going to start the season with the Dunedin Blue Jays, are Manuel Beltre, Tucker Toman, and Adrian Pinto. Riley, do those all sound right to you, or was there a name to watch or something? Or are you interested in the placement of any of these players? Do you have a thought there?
I mean, if you want to, let's just kind of go real quick, 1A, 1B kind of deal, and it's a pitcher and a position player. I mean, Tiedemann, he's gonna be lights out, dude. He's gonna be lights out. I mean, you can't bring up Ricky Tiedemann and not talk about how good he's already been in the minor leagues. And I'm so excited. I can't even say to watch, because I honestly, I don't watch the minor leagues. I read it in the news like a lot of people do. And Barger is going to be an asset at some point for this Toronto Blue Jays team, or I hope he is, because he's a jack dude who can play the infield. He's got a great swing. He's got a great ball player look. I mean, just the kind of guy you want on a big league team. And I think there was another name there, Eric Pardino. I haven't heard that name in the longest time. I forgot about him, to be honest with you. But definitely Ricky Tiedemann and Barger are definitely the two guys that jump right off the page for me, Jesse.
Yeah, I'm intrigued about Orelvis Martinez at New Hampshire this year. I want to see him have a good year. He could be in Buffalo before long, if not Toronto, if he has a monster season. Well, Riley, we'll talk about the minors more later. We have to preview the West Coast trip. The Jays are packing their bags from Kansas City, flying out to Anaheim to begin a series with the LA Angels of Anaheim, who are 4-2 to begin the young season. Probable pitchers for this matchup. Game 1, it'll be Chris Bassett against Patrick Sandoval. Game 2 will be Jose Brios against Tyler Anderson. Game 3 will be Yusei Kikuchi against Reed Detmers. Riley, you nailed the Kansas City series prediction, thinking how we're going to do. Want to take a shot at it again here. And if you have a pick to click or a player to watch for this series, who's it going to be?
I'm going to say as a whole, our hitters against lefties right now. You've set the lineup card basically for what the probable starters are for the Angels, and I'd love to hear that with the lefties in, because I mean that's a time for guys like Vladdy, Bo Springer, and like whoever to mash. I mean, this could be a time really for us to take off. I mean, what I would like is Bassett in his appearance to click. That would be nice to see. But as far as a lot of things go, I feel like this will just be a good series for just our hitters as a whole. And what I'm really hoping though is that Bassett can really just produce a quality start. Brios can figure something out, and that Kikuchi can do more or less of the same thing. Now I have it in my head that they're kind of going to do opposite of what they did in their first appearance, as Bassett, who stunk, is going to actually go 6 or 7 innings in the first game. Brios is going to come back. I'm not going to say he's going to do great, but he's at least going to get us maybe a win. And then I'm not saying Kikuchi's going to have a bad start, but I'm going to say we're going to take 2 out of 3, and perhaps, Jesse, maybe Kikuchi has a little bit of a hiccup because it's early in the year, bound to happen, whatever. But still, I want to be sitting with you here on Sunday night talking about a great and a well-pitched series for Toronto, because, I mean, we're going up against some big guns in Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. So, yeah, I'm not saying we sweep. I'm going to say we come pretty damn close, though, and I hope the boys still pick it up in the offense, too, because, I mean, I know that LA's kind of a, hitter's ballpark in a way. I still think it's a pretty hard ballpark to hit a lot of them out, but I think the short wall, I think we can do it. I think guys like Bobashet, Chapman, those guys who have hit line drives well, I think they're going to put up some good numbers at the dish as well.
Yeah, that's how we're going to win this series. If the Blue Jays are going to do it, we're going to have to do it with our bats, because my confidence is like -4 in Jose Brios, and Chris Bassett, velocity was down across the board. He just seemed flabbergasted with what happened. Now, it was a good Cardinals team. Angels aren't the Cardinals. That's going to be the X factor game, I think. And Reed Detmers is actually really good. So, we'll see how him and Kikuchi fare. It's going to come down to the Blue Jays offense. I'm going to predict we only take 1 out of these 3 games this series, but I think they're going to be good, intriguing games. My pick to click, Riley, or I'm picking this player to finally hit a home run this year, and that's Danny Jansen. Facing a bunch of lefties on the schedule, I think Danny Jansen goes deep this series, and that'll be, I guess, my bold call for this series.
It's not too much of a bold call. That Jano's got mad power, and I would love to see a Danny Jansen home run. I love it. I would love to see some offense. He's getting some plate appearances, and he's looked all right so far, but we know there is more out that Danny Jansen can do at the plate. And if it comes in this series against the Angels, great.
Right, yeah, I'm with you. Let's go Blue Jays. Let's get a series dub. We want to keep things going on a high. This Blue Jays team is too good. We're better than the Angels. Let's go out, let's beat them. Let's continue our hot start and then head into Rogers Center feeling good and groovy. But guys, that'll do it for our episode here today. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Please, once again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as well. And anywhere you can get your podcasts, you can find us. Riley, anything else to add before we call our day here today?
Nope. Just my last takeaway is just haven't heard Eric Pardino's name. I guess I will see him in the big leagues when he turns 31. I think we drafted him signed him as a 6-year-old. So that's, he's, got a lot of time to develop, but hey, no, looking forward to the series against the Angels. Probably the second most exciting team to watch in Major League Baseball. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's fire it up and have a good series against the Angels.
Get ready to stay up late. We got some West Coast baseball this week. And I know as a Nighthawk like me, I'm excited for this. We'll see you guys Sunday night to recap the series. Until then, have a good one.
Thanks, guys.